phone again. I just wanted to say hello. Bye.
GoFundMe account is set up for the family of the girl who was stabbed and killed on a Killeen ISD campus. Relatives say 14-year-old Serenity Baker died after the incident at Roy J. Middle School yesterday after a classmate stabbed her.
You shot straight, but you shot late. High limit. This is the Rundown Podcast.
I'm going to give you the rundown.
School district officials and the Killeen Police Department confirmed that a fight that broke out between the two students at around 11:30 yesterday morning resulted in the deadly stabbing. The attacker was identified by police as a 14-year-old girl who was quickly taken into custody. The school was placed on lockdown, and parents rushed to reunite with kids who were taken to a nearby church to be picked up.
Say man, hey man, it's OG Jucario. I'm back at you with another one. And I got a story coming out of Killeen, Texas, where another school assault, another stabbing has happened. And unfortunately, a young lady lost her life in this stabbing incident. And we're seeing this more frequent now. And other reports of stabbings have also been reported with these high schools and middle schools across America, okay? And now we have a story of the plot twist is this is not being talked about as much as the Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony stabbing case, but this case involves two female black students, okay? I think both of them were 14 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And we have these two female black students who get into an incident, and one of the young ladies ended up losing her life. Her name happens to be Serenity Baker. Okay, so now we're seeing these school stabbing incidents take place more often. And it's funny that, they're choosing to put the black kid and the white kid stabbing incident in the forefront, right? Austin and Carmelo. But here you have two black female students that have a similar type of incident, a stabbing incident at a school on school property. And you don't hardly hear nothing about it. It's crickets, kind of. And, you have people making a couple of TikToks and a few videos on YouTube here and there, but really no news coverage about what's actually, going on with the case. And the people gathered to remember Serenity Baker at the balloon release, okay? And all of her friends and family were there to celebrate Serenity's life.
Today, friends and family gathered to mourn young Serenity.
News 10's Isabella Quintanilla joins us now live from Killeen, where she attended today's vigil. Isabella.
Yes, Lauren and Gordon, I am here in the Bridgewood neighborhood here in Killeen, where just over an hour ago, this corner was filled with friends and family and classmates, all saying goodbye to young Serenity Baker. And as you can imagine, everyone was heartbroken to be here, especially so soon after. But you could really see and feel the love that everyone had for her here today. They started off with a prayer, and then some close family and friends shared a few words, kind words about Serenity, just remembering her and sharing who she was with everyone present. They then lit some candles and released some balloons in the air as a way to say goodbye. Family members called for an end to the violence. Serenity's aunt, Jasmine Schenkel, shared how this should never have happened.
It's sad. The youth, the violence, the having to feel like you're one up and stuff, it's not worth it. Because now, not only has that girl gonna have to deal with, legal things, and she's lost part of her life, my niece is also never coming back to see any of us. It's a sad situation for everybody.
All that's left now behind from today's memorial is here behind me, red and purple balloons and flowers and stuffed animals. Red and purple, I'm told, were her favorite colors, so just a sweet way to remember her. And again, that GoFundMe is on the KWTX website.
Now, we all know why these same similar stories don't get the same type of coverage all around the board, because it seems like the news media wanted to wait till the perfect time till they can find, the story between, a black person and a white person, especially violence, okay? And then you have, the young black teenager, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, confessing to, the crime of killing Austin Metcalf, and said he was defending himself. It was self-defense. He told him not to put his hands on him, right? And the media ran with that one, right? It was the perfect opportunity to stir up racial divide and racial hate amongst the Americans, all right? And that's exactly what, the outcome of that was. But at the end of the day, we got to know that it was other similar cases out there that had been happened that we heard nothing about. They didn't even put a spotlight on it, right? Didn't even put it in the headlines. What happened out there in Belton, Texas.
Ninth day of the Kaysen Allison trial. He is charged with murder for the fatal stabbing of Joe Ramirez back in 2022 at Belton High School.
The jury has now been deliberating for several hours. News 10's Isabella Quintanilla has been at the Bell County Justice Center all day. She joins us now with more from the day. Isabella.
Yes, that's right, Lauren and Gordon. Now today, every single seat in the courtroom was filled with people as they awaited the jury's verdict, which we are still waiting on. Now, as a reminder, Kaysen Allison pleaded not guilty to murder charges, but it is up to the jury to decide if he is guilty or not. And if found guilty, Judge Faulkner will decide his sentence. The lesser offenses, if the jury finds him guilty, but also find that self-defense does apply, that includes manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide. Now, things started off this morning with the state's closing argument, who reminded the jury of what exactly each charge means. Prosecutors then went through Allison's actions before, during, and after the incident, telling the jury they were intentional and that, quote, Joe Ramirez cannot speak for himself anymore, but the facts do, end quote. The defense gave their closing argument, emphasizing that not guilty simply means not proven, telling the jury, quote, the state is trying to call Kaysen Allison a murderer, but consider the evidence or lack thereof, end quote. They used all 75 minutes allotted to them to go through testimony and evidence, trying to convince the jury that Allison's actions were self-defense. Prosecutors then got the chance to give a rebuttal argument, asking the jury, quote, does the ordinary person stab someone 4 times when they're protecting themselves from a sucker punch, end quote. Now, as we mentioned early, the jury is still deliberating, as they have been since just after noon today, but we will be out here keeping you updated until a decision is made.
Now, this whole incident right here, man, is just, it's horrible that, this 14-year-old girl lost her life. Now, another 14-year-old student who's claiming, right, her father is saying, right, Angel Simmons, the accused father, is saying that his daughter was being bullied. And this is what he had to say. He said that it's been going on for 2 to 3 years, says Durante Simmons. And it says the 7th grade student accused of fatally stabbing a fellow student earlier this week was bullied. Afraid, and Killeen ISD officials did nothing about it, according to her father. This has been going on for 2 to 3 years, Durante Simmons said. My daughter, Angel, has taken verbal threats and bullying, even having a gun pulled on her by an associate of Serenity Baker. So Serenity Baker is the young lady who unfortunately lost her life. Rest in peace to Serenity Baker, and love and condolences go out to her family in her time of bereavement. Now, according to Simmons, he has filed numerous reports with Killeen ISD and a report with Killeen Police Department about the ongoing bullying. Angel Simmons is accused of fatally stabbing Serenity Baker at Smith Middle School on Monday. The girls, both 14, attended the school. Last week, Angel had been asked by officials with KISD to give a list of names of those who had bullied her, according to Simmons. At that time, Simmons said officials with KISD said that they would be in touch about the incident. Simmons said he has not heard from anyone from KISD. The father said he went to Killeen Police Department to file a report that his daughter had been bullied and had a gun pulled on her, and he was told by police that they would be in touch. Simmons said he has not heard from anyone from the police department either. According to her dad, Angel did have one hearing this week in relation to the stabbing and was denied bond. She was still in the Bell County Juvenile Detention Center on Friday, her father said. She will have another hearing in 10 days, Simmons said. And the time since Monday's stabbing, Simmons said he has not received any contact by school officials, none from KISD Superintendent Joanne Frey, and nothing from the Killeen Police Department. She does have an attorney, and he is aware that I have reached out for more information about Monday's incident, Simmons said. He also has a copy of a statement I posted on social media and gave to the media. He corrected himself before ending the conversation and said, I have heard from KISD. They sent a letter dated March 11th that Angel has been suspended. Now, the father of Angel Simmons put out a community message, right? He says this. It says, in a message to the community that Simmons posted to social media, Simmons said his daughter, whose nickname is Piggy, has lived a life filled with hardship. According to the father, her mother's battle with substance abuse meant that Piggy spent much of her childhood in foster care. Stability was a foreign concept for her. Only recently, after years of instability, has her father been able to get custody and provide her with the stability she so desperately needed and deserved. But as we know, life isn't always kind to those who lack the privileges that, so many take for granted. Piggy never had the new clothes, the regular meals, or the social support that many children are fortunate enough to have. For over 3 years, this lack of privilege made her a target for bullying. Okay? Now, they're saying for over 3 years, the lack of privilege made her this target of bullying, and one young lady in particular made Piggy's life a living nightmare. This young lady and her friends subjected Piggy to continuous harassment, but verbally and physically, they attacked her. And they tormented her, and day in and day out. In this very school year alone, Piggy was physically attacked on 3 separate occasions by this same group. But it didn't stop there. This group even went so far to show up to Piggy's house to jump her. Imagine that. She couldn't even feel safe in her own home. The place that was supposed to be her refuge became just another place of fear. As you can imagine, bullying like this is not just devastating, it is epidemic, and it leaves deep emotional and physical scars. However, on March 3rd, things took a terrifying turn. After yet another brutal attack, this young lady raised the stakes. A gun was pulled on Piggy. I want you to pause that for a moment and imagine the fear that Piggy felt, knowing that her life was in danger. It's a fear that no child should ever have to experience. Simmons said KISD failed his daughter. Yet, despite multiple attempts by Piggy's father and aunt to advocate for her, and despite their repeated visits to the school asking for protection, no action was taken. The school failed to address the problem. The young lady who had been bullying Piggy for so long, who had already been suspended multiple times for fighting, was still allowed to be on campus that day, violating her suspension and continuing to threaten Piggy. According to the social media post, Piggy was living in fear for her safety, fear for her future. She confided in school administrators and counselors, making it abundantly clear that she was terrified. She didn't want to fight. She simply wanted to go to school, get an education, and feel safe. Now, tragically, we find ourselves in a heartbreaking situation. We are mourning the loss of a young life, but let us not forget that Piggy has also been a victim here, victimized by years of bullying, fear, and failure of the system that was supposed to protect her. When the police were called, no witnesses came forward to speak up. Police were unable to do anything. Piggy had no one to turn to. And in an update, the father, Durante Simmons, he sent an email to the Herald clarifying his daughter has a court-appointed attorney. He also clarified he went to Killeen Police Department one time, not multiple times, after he said she was being bullied and had a gun pulled on her. I'm just angry. Town hall held in wake of 14-year-old fatally stabbed at Killeen School. KISD leader and communications director failed to respond to KDH's written request. KISD debuts webpage to answer questions about bullying and other issues related to stabbing death. Online fundraisers raises more than $15,000 to help with legal costs for girl accused in a stabbing, Angel Simmons. Wow. Now, KISD, they debuted a web page, as I mentioned in that article, and this web page is answering all these questions about the bullying and other issues related to the stabbing death that took place between Angel Simmons and Serenity Baker there at Smith Middle School. And this is what it says. Now, on the website, it specifically asked the question that people wanted to know. Was this incident related to bullying? And it says that's part of the investigation that's now underway, and we cannot comment on the details of an active investigation. While we want to be as transparent as possible, it is also critical that we protect the integrity of the investigation. We can tell you that we have found no records of either of the students involved in this tragedy having used our bullying reporting tool. We do not know yet if the students, parents, or anyone else reported anything about bullying verbally or to an administrator or a teacher. We are investigating that. And while we cannot talk about the other details related to this incident, we want to emphasize that we want to know if anyone believes that they are being bullied or witness inappropriate behavior that may be bullying. We urge everyone in our KISD community to be aware that, the www.KISD-ISSAFE.com, our bullying and threat reporting tool, is for use, and supports which can be submitted anonymously will be seen immediately by our KISD police department. Now, another question that people wanted to know, they say, did the students involved have a prior history of conflict? Well, it says this: Killeen ISD is legally not allowed to release that information because it's protected by FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. FERPA is a federal law that protects the privacy of student education records, granting parents and students over 18 access to these records and controlling their disclosure to third parties without consent. While we must always follow the FERPA guidance, given the intense and understandable public interest in this incident and the speculation around bullying being a possible cause, we have completed a detailed review of attendance and disciplinary records and can now share the following details. The accused and victim attended the same school, Roy J. Smith Middle School, for only 1 month based on attendance records. They were on campus at the same time for 4 days. There were no formal reports of bullying during that time. On Monday, March 3rd, 2025, after school hours, Angel Simmons, her father, reported to the principal that unidentified students were in the accused's neighborhood threatening the accused, including a weapon being flashed. The father was advised to report this situation to the Killeen Police Department. The accused was not at school from March 5th through 7th, 2025. The victim had been absent since February 24th, 2025, and returned on March the 7th, 2025. But again, the accused was absent on March the 7th. So the accused, which is Angel Simmons, she was not there when Serenity Baker returned back to school on March the 7th. Okay? So it says Monday, March the 10th, 2025 was the first day both students were at the school at the same time since February the 20th, 2025. Both arrived late, the victim at 8:18 a.m. and the accused at 8:28 a.m. Teachers intervened in a verbal altercation between the students that day before the fatal incident. We have since learned that the girls intended to continue the dispute after school. Were either of the students involved in this incident on a transfer to attend Roy J. Smith Middle School? No, both were zoned to attend Roy J. Smith Middle School based on their home addresses, although the accused did not attend Smith Middle School prior to February 10th, 2025. Now, they also define bullying. It says bullying as defined by Texas Education Code 37.0832 is a single significant act or pattern of acts that exploit an imbalance of power and involve verbal, written, and electronic or physical conduct. It is considered bullying if it physically harms a student on their property or creates fear or harm, creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment, substantially disrupts school operations or infringes on a student's rights. Cyberbullying includes bullying through electronic devices such as phones, computers, emails, messaging apps, and social media and websites. Bullying can take many forms, including but not limited to hazing, threats, taunting, or teasing, physical harm, confinement or assault, physical harm, demands for money or destruction of property, name calling, rumor spreading, or social exclusion. Now, the district promotes a positive school culture and integrates age-appropriate bullying prevention into instruction. Somebody posed a question. They said, I'm hearing that the weapon used was a pencil. Others say it was a knife. What is true? And they answered with, the weapon was a tactical folding knife with a 3.5-inch blade. Wow. Then somebody says, when and where did the incident occur? The incident occurred at approximately 11:25 a.m. in a common space during a passing period. Were there working metal detectors at Roy J. Smith Middle School? Were they in use? Roy J. Smith Middle School had an evolved weapons detection system on site, but it was not functioning. The weapons detection system was not working that day, you guys. Wow. Obviously, this is of great concern to us. We are investigating why the system was not functioning, and we will report back to our school community when we have the information about that, what we can share. So they don't know why it wasn't functioning that day. But this day it wasn't working, and Angel Simmons was able to get a weapon, a 3.5-inch blade, a folding knife, into that schoolhouse and stabbed Serenity Baker fatally to death. They say that these evolved weapons detection systems are at various secondary campuses in Killeen ISD. Exact locations are kept confidential for added security. Well, added security, if they're not working, then where's the security? If they're not going to work, who cares if you have it? It's not even working, right? Leading up to an incident, unfortunately, like with Angel Simmons stabbing Serenity Baker. Now, another question that was asked, is there any video surveillance of the students involved leading up to the altercation? And they say all school surveillance video is now in the possession of the Killeen Police Department as part of the active investigation to answer that question. And somebody says this, did the student receive medical attention while waiting for EMS to arrive? And the answer to that was, let me see. They say yes, 4 medical staff members, including the school nurse, responded within seconds and provided basic medical aid to the student until asked to step away when emergency services arrived on the scene. A stop and bleed kit was retrieved and used. However, due to the severity of the injuries, the kit had limited effectiveness. Now, this question is asking, what charges is the suspect facing? A juvenile referral has been submitted to Bell County Juvenile Probation. The individual is in custody at Bell County. Charges will be determined by county prosecutors. How is the district addressing student safety in light of this incident? We are currently reviewing all safety and security measures in the wake of this tragedy. How is the district addressing student safety in the light of this incident? It says, we are currently reviewing all safety and security measures in the wake of this tragedy. The district has also brought in an outside independent investigation team to oversee the administrative investigation. So they're investigating those who are doing the investigating. Good job. Now, this question is posed, I'm thinking, because, somebody, students there had to record the incident. It says a video out there of the incident. And this question was asked, will the district's cell phone policy be impacted by this incident? It says, we are reviewing all policies around safety in the wake of this tragedy. Like I said, it's reports of the video of Angel actually stabbing Serenity out there in the public. Now, this question is saying, we haven't seen the principal since the incident. Where is he? Now, that answer is the principal and other administrative staff members on administrative leave pending the investigation. And since this fatal incident, they're asking now what new or changed disciplinary actions will be taken for students involved in on-campus disturbances. They say effective immediately. Any student involved in fighting or assaults on campus will face disciplinary placement ranging from 45 days to 180 days, following Texas Education Code and Manifestation Determination Review (MDR) guidelines. Any student who assaults a staff member will be placed in the District Alternative Education Program (DAEP) for a minimum of 1 school year. Wow. It's a long time. So that should make them think twice about making the wrong decisions, putting their hands on an adult. And they say for off-campus incidents that if it leads to or if it's linked to a disruption at school, the student involved will face disciplinary placement ranging from 45 days to 180 days in accordance with the state guidelines. Now, those were all the questions that, the community was asking on this website that they set up. The school set this up for people to, ask these questions and get the answers that they, so desperately needed about this incident that occurred at Roy J. Smith Middle School. Now, the KISD superintendent, Joanne Fay, she commented in a news conference about the whole ordeal that took place there at the school. And this is what she had to say in that press conference. Check it out.
So thank you all so much for being here again and sticking to our plan to keep the community updated on what is happening regarding the incident at Roy J. Middle School. We're trying to make sure that we stay true to what we said we were going to do. And so a couple things I'd like to share today is the return to school. We had all of our kids returning to school on Monday, and additional measures across the district that were put into place by campus leaders to ensure a safe return, to make sure that we had protocols in place so that we had safe entries into our schools. Specifically at Roy J. Smith, they came back, students came back on Tuesday. We started our day at about 6:30 at that campus. Students started entering the building at 7:30. We did have a single point of entry at Roy J. Smith Middle School. Kids, it did take us some time to get kids through our system. The last student came through our system at 9:01 a.m., so it was a considerable length of time. I can confirm this morning that we've shaved off about 25 minutes on that, and that students were in the building as of 8:37 this morning. So definitely getting better at the process, and kids are getting used to understanding the do's and don'ts of that situation. I also can confirm, as I did last night with the Board of Trustees, that we had a 93% attendance rate at Roy J. Smith Middle School yesterday. We had 38 withdrawals, because I know that's a point of contention. And many of those were just withdrew and went to another campus in the district. Lots of them went back to their home campuses as they were on transfers to Roy J. Smith Middle School. And regarding the investigation and the updates, there are some concerns about some of the information that we felt to be true in the last session that we did, so we're making those updates to the FAQs. One of those is attendance of the 2 individuals that are involved in this incident. Right now, we do not feel strongly about our attendance data. It's not lining up what we believe to be true. So we're still in the verification process of that. So we will be updating our FAQs around what is factual when we actually have the facts. Another thing that is being updated is that both children were not late to school that day. One child signed in late. Another child came in at regular time. Regarding the response to the actual incident, I'd like to reiterate that we as adults in that campus responded within seconds. We had 4 staff members, including our school nurse, who responded to provide basic medical aid to the child until we had emergency services show up. And it was within seconds. It was not a delayed time. regarding speaking with the families of the two children, we've had multiple district representatives in contact with the parents of Serenity. At this point, we're still trying to verify facts, and we feel like it's very early to be reaching out to the other family involved at this point. Those are the updates. Again, I'd like to reiterate, it takes time to unravel such a significant incident, and we were delayed because we had the week off in trying to navigate, triangulate conversations and information to be sure that we have the facts down. And like I said earlier, what we knew to be true last week is not necessarily lining up to be true this week. And as evidenced by the two things that I shared about the attendance, the late arrival, and things like that. So that's what I have. And so thank you again for being here. And I'm going to allow Karen to help me navigate questions this morning.
First off, you look very nice in your red.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any specifics around the security enhancements currently going on either within district or at Smith, and or specific punishments to be doled out for students that are found to be guilty of bullying?
Great questions, and I'll take those in order. If I could be reminded, if I forget something, to please just ask me. As far as safety and security of our campuses, including Roy J. Smith, we gave a pretty thorough overview last night to our Board of Trustees, and I know that we have that presentation as a handout for you to take with you. We have multiple levels of security. Ultimately, security starts with supervision of kids. That is one of the things that is being reinforced about how our adults in the system are monitoring hallways, how they're monitoring duty stations. With respect to the actual assets, as such things as metal detectors, evolve systems, the wands, we can share that we have some campuses with both, some campuses with one or the other, but I can't share which campuses have what, just out of trying to maintain some level of information that we can't share. Just reinforce your next part of that.
Can you dole out specifics in terms of punishment for students that are found guilty of bullying and or injuring other students?
I can answer that in two ways. First way is we are really trying to go back through our data in understanding appropriate investigations. Do parents feel as if we handled the situation appropriately? Providing some level of oversight into things that may have been missed during the investigation that we didn't ask. As far as punishment is concerned, there is a consistent punishment that is across the board for certain incidents, including up to a DAP placement or an expulsion if it moves to that level. With respect to other behaviors, and I do want to clarify, we don't have an uptick of violence. What we have is a consistent pattern over time of violence at KISD in our schools. Things like fighting, assaults, those are big things. We have definitely always had the ability to define what the length of stay for those placements are. And so what we're doing is taking a stance on the number of days that we feel is appropriate for those children to be off-site. And it obviously depends on the severity of the incident. We've taken a stance on fighting. We have said up to a 90-day placement at DAP. That is mutual fighting, right, between two students. Assaults would be the same thing, to include a potential recommendation to JJA, which is an expulsion, but they still get their education there. If we have an assault on a staff member, who tries to break up a fight, who is assaulted by a student, we are moving forward with a recommendation for expulsion up to 180 days, which is about a calendar school year.
As far as the investigation, do you have any idea when that might wrap up, or when we might have answers as to what exactly happened with them?
Great question. We were hopeful, and I still am, that based on is that we would be wrapping up within 2 weeks the administrative side of the investigation. But as you talk to one person, it leads to the need to talk to other people. So right now, I'm hopeful that we can still meet somewhat of an expectation of doing this as quickly as possible so that we can provide transparency and provide answers. But I don't want to commit to a day because what we're learning is it's taking a lots of time to navigate conversations with the people that we're interviewing. Hold on, I also want to say, on the criminal investigation, that is not our investigation. That belongs to the Killeen Police Department, and I do not have answers on that.
So, sorry.
No.
Just regarding the security measures, I know that it's up to the campus to decide which ones to implement. Are there any that are non-negotiable? Every single campus has to have this, especially for parents, you know, maybe their kid goes to one high school, another one, just navigating. Does one kid need to bring a backpack? Does one need to bring something else? Things like that.
So great questions, and so I'll answer it from different viewpoints. First and foremost, not every campuses have everything, and it's not an option to have one day and not the other. They are large assets that cannot be just moved from day to day. What is an expectation is that if there are assets on campuses, that they're using them daily and that they have a plan for the monitoring and implementation if something were to be found, things like that. And so regarding student level expectations, we have a student code of conduct. That student code of conduct involves dress code, expectations for behavior, expectations for bags, things like that. And so we have not taken a district stance on backpacks, but we do have campus leaders who have taken a specific stance, and that's caused a little bit of a ripple. But what I can say is, as a district, we are looking to move towards a consistent policy of backpacks up to clear bag policies. Right now, and I explained this last night, is we're not there yet. But we do have plans to move forward with a consistent expectation. Some of the things that we deal with in the education system is the need and the want to work with families and kids. And so sometimes, you know, we get a little lax on our implementation of the student code of conduct or consequences when kids are not following them.
Now, something that caught my attention is that when the father, Durante Simmons, said that his daughter Piggy had been getting bullied by these girls, right? For almost 2 to 3 years, and nothing was done about it. But it clearly said that the accused and the victim attended the same school, this Roy J. Smith Middle School, where this happened at, for only 1 month, right? So that's crazy. How is he saying all this took place for 2 to 3 years ongoing, and the girl was only at the school for a month? That's right. Angel Simmons, his daughter, was only at that school for a month. So the math ain't mathing, man. Something ain't right about that. You know, so that caught my attention when he, you know, stated that this been going on and it's been a problem. They've been coming to the neighborhood. You know, they pulled a gun. Now, the school said they couldn't answer if these two students knew each other or had a conflict, you know, before prior the incident, okay? But her father is stating, yeah, they had all these, you know, run-ins with each other, okay? Serenity Baker's friend allegedly put a gun on Angel, right? And these are all bullying tactics that the dad said that these girls was using. And the dad even said that they jumped on Angel right before the incident happened, right? Now, it didn't happen at school, but obviously they were beating her up or jumping on her, well, outside the campus somewhere that the school didn't know about. But the dad, you know, once again, stated that he said a whole lot of things that didn't add up and didn't match up with, what the school had provided as far as the investigation went. Now, when the father put out that message to the community, he had a lot to say about these girls bullying Angel, his daughter. And when he was telling the story, he kind of went back and forth and made it kind of seem like she was attacked that day. Okay, in the statement, it said, however, on March 3rd, things took a terrifying turn. After yet another brutal attack, this young lady raised the stakes. It says a gun was pulled on Piggy. Now, it doesn't state what actual date the gun was pulled on Angel Simmons, aka Piggy. But it says, I want you to pause for a moment and imagine the fear Piggy felt. So this is saying that the gun was pulled on her. She was brutally attacked. Obviously, this had to happen right before she brought that knife to school and got into this altercation with Serenity Baker, fatally injuring her. And the dad also stated that Piggy had been jumped 3 previous times before that. So that made 4 attacks, right? And then one attempt to show up, at the house to fight and jump on her. And that's when a gun was pulled on her. That's what, the dad was conveying in the message. And he said he only went to the Killeen Police Department to, file that one complaint that one time. It wasn't multiple times that he did that. Now, the dad also stated, maybe he got his facts wrong, because he said the young lady who had been bullying Piggy, his daughter, for so long had already been suspended multiple times for fighting, was still allowed to be on campus that day, violating her suspension and continuing to threaten Piggy, according to the social media posts. Now, I'm pretty sure if she was there that day and they said they only was on campus at the same times for 4 times. The whole month that Piggy went to school there. So if they was only on campus for 4 times out of that whole month, and this one time that they actually meet up on March the 3rd, right? They had planned to finish the fight after the school day and all this here. If she's terrified of this girl, Serenity Baker, why would she agree to meet up after school and finish the fight? I mean, that's just, that doesn't make sense at all. The father also stated that Piggy, his daughter, confided in the administrators and counselors about the bullying that she was undergoing and experiencing, right? But then when the school put out their information about the investigation, they're saying that no reports came from the bullying reporting tool that the school has. It's a tool that, these students can access to, write the names of the students and report the names of the students that are bullying them. Okay, but the school is saying they didn't get no reports, right? None of the teachers are saying they had any reports of any bullying between these two. So why is the father saying that, him and the aunt, Angel Simmons, which is Piggy, his daughter, these 3 have been complaining about bullying? But the school is saying we don't got any of those reports. That's suspicious. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy that, the father said that this girl, Serenity Baker, was bullying his daughter, Angel Simmons, for so long. When the school is saying, look, Angel Simmons only was going to the school for 1 month. And she had missed a few days during that 1 month when she was enrolled there. So, this whole thing is just, it's not making sense as far as the father, his timeline. I don't know if he's, going back to, past instances way before, Roy J. Smith Middle School, when she was having problems that he expressed that she grew up, with a hardship, and the mother was abusing drugs and things of that nature, and he just got a custody of his daughter. So I don't know if he's referring to, years and years of bullying before that, but he sure made it seem as if, this girl, Serenity Baker, was, bullying his daughter for years and years. Now, with all these different incidents, these fights that supposedly took place between Serenity Baker and Angel Simmons, the father never said he had any photo evidence of, his daughter being injured from these fights or none of that. Like, where's the evidence of all these fights that these girls had got into previously, right? Because the school is saying, look, we had no idea about any of these disputes outside of school or in school until that day when this whole incident took place. Okay. And the teachers are saying that it was a verbal altercation first that ensued, and then the physical attack occurred.
We now know the name of the girl who was fatally stabbed on campus at Roy J. Middle School yesterday by a fellow classmate. Relatives identified her today as 14-year-old Serenity Baker. A GoFundMe has been set up to her family, and we have a link to that on our website, kwtx.com. Now here's a look at where that tragedy happened. Roy J. Middle School is on Brushy Creek Drive. School district officials and the Killeen Police Department confirmed that a fight broke out between the two students around 11:30 in the morning yesterday. That resulted in the deadly stabbing. The attacker was identified by police as a 14-year-old girl who was quickly taken into custody. The school was placed on lockdown, and parents rushed to reunite with kids who were taken to a nearby church waiting to be picked up.
We want to thank everybody for coming out today to express your concerns. The safety of our students is very important to everyone who sets up here and our superintendent, and we just want to reinforce to the public that we are committed to the safety of our students, our educators, and our leadership in this district, and we'll be taking swift and decisive actions to ensure that the safety of our kids and our entire staff is at the forefront of all of our actions from this point forward.
Before the closed session, a handful of parents voiced concerns about issues with communication, mental health, and safety and security measures. They voiced these concerns to the board. After the meeting adjourned with no public action at this time, parents left frustrated, asking why nothing is getting done right now. Some parents, they were in tears, others stormed out.
A child died. School more important than our children's lives, so they don't go back. They don't go back. They just don't go back.
Other parents we spoke with are demanding more security in schools to prevent fights, especially in school bathrooms, and preventing weapons from getting on campus. Now, we weren't able to speak with the district directly, but we are working to speak with the district and ask those questions.
Now, it's also important to note that by reading what they said took place, it says teachers intervened in a verbal altercation between the students that day, right? So it makes it seem as if, they had a verbal altercation first, right? And then between classes, like it said, it happened between classes, all right? That's when, Angel Simmons took it upon herself to take out the knife and attack Serenity Baker, because it clearly said that the school learned that the girls intended to continue the dispute after school. So instead of Angel Simmons, waiting to after school, after she was threatened allegedly by Serenity Baker, hey, I'm going, whatever to you after school, just wait and see. So Serenity Baker made that threat, leading to Angel Simmons saying, okay, well, I'm not going to wait till after school. I'm going to get the one up on you and do something to you before school ends. And that's what it seems like took place. So if that's right, what they're telling us, that's definitely premeditated, because she did bring the knife to school, right? They argued first, had an altercation verbally first. Then they split up, go their separate ways, go to class. Right. And then after class is over, between classes is when Angel Simmons catches Serenity Baker in the hallways and tragically ends her life.
Police in Killeen say one student died and another is in custody after a stabbing at the middle school there.
This happened around 11:30 at Roy J. Smith Middle School. A parent told our news partners in Killeen safety has been an issue at the school before.
Unfortunately, I heard it was a really bad situation that could have been prevented, and unfortunately 2 families are going to suffer from this, tragically.
We shouldn't be sitting here talking together today because a kid got killed. yesterday. We should have been talking about this already when they was fighting last week, last month, last year, the year before that, and all that kind of stuff. This ain't the first time a child died. It's sad, and it's heartbreaking.
So the Killeen ISD is deeply saddened to share tragic news that happened at Roy J. Smith Middle School today. Our hearts go out to the family, friends, and school community as we grieve a heartbreaking loss today.
At approximately 11:25, an altercation between two juvenile students resulted in a stabbing. The suspect was also a student, was also quickly apprehended by the Killeen ISD Police Department and the camp and is now in custody. EMS was immediately requested and on scene and began patient care within 7 minutes of the call. The victim was transported to Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center where she succumbed to her injuries. At this time, the Killeen Police Department's Criminal Investigative Division, with support from the KISD Police Department, is leading a homicide investigation into this incident.
Like I said, this is heartbreaking news for the district, and we offer our condolences to the family, the friends, the school community that's impacted by this. The district will be reaching out directly to the Smith Middle School families to let them know more details about what the next few days will look like. Also to the staff on what this looks like. We will have counseling and support services available for students and staff as we deal with this tragic loss. We're going to wrap this up here.
Okay, so this is what I'm getting from the whole ordeal, which, you know, it's not going to look good because that's definitely a premeditated murder. And now the father is basically saying, look, you know, my daughter has been bullied. You know, it's been going on for years. And he's making it seem like this girl, Serenity Baker, is the one that bullied his daughter, Angel Simmons, for years. When in fact, like the school said, she only been at that school for 1 month. So it just does not make sense. I don't know if he's saying that these two girls attended a different school before they got to the Roy J. Smith school, right? I don't know if they had a past experience at different schools before. Who knows? But the dad is definitely making it seem as if, you know, this was an ongoing thing between his daughter and Serenity Baker, okay, for years up into the matter. So at this point, we got to know that the media are the biggest race baiters of all times because they the ones that put the highlights, the headlines on these stories. They pick them out. They sort them out. Oh, black against white. Oh, yeah, it's race. It's great. It's going to make us a lot of money, right? It's going to get a lot of ratings, get a lot of comments, people typing their racial hate in the comment sections is what these news media outlets are wanting, you guys. So, you know, I'm going to keep my eye on this story, and, you know, that's probably why this story isn't getting a lot of, you know, press and publicity right now. But, you know, I'm covering it, and I'm going to keep y'all up to date as far as the new details that, you know, start unfolding with everything. And it's just sad and unfortunate, man, that, you know, these situations keep occurring over and over and over. School didn't have metal detectors working that day. Wow. Wow, man, that's crazy. I hate for something else to happen and those detectors wasn't working. It's a big ass lawsuit. Huh. Yes, indeed. But, hey, man, and guess what? While I was recording this video, breaking news of Casey Allison, he was found guilty, right, in his trial. But check this out, though. This is the kicker, right? He was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide, and that only carries 6 months to 2 years in a state jail facility. So they're saying that Casey Allison got off easy. Killed Joe Ramirez there in that bathroom intentionally. Just like how they said Carmelo killed Austin Metcalf intentionally. Casey brought a knife to school. Carmelo brought one to a school track meet on school property still. And it was bullying allegations suspected around the Carmelo case. Austin Metcalf and his brother Hunter Metcalf there. And going off of the definition of bullying that I read out earlier, okay? And that's according to the Killeen ISD bullying update, you know, as far as the school is concerned. Now, with Austin Metcalf and his brother Hunter telling, you know, Carmelo Anthony he had to move or else this is what was going to be done to him. He pushed him, right? It's evidence of that. His brother even said that his brother Austin pushed Carmelo. Now, that's bullying. So people have to understand. No, it wasn't a history between the two. Just like it wasn't a history between the two with Serenity Baker and Angel Simmons. As the school won't disclose, but the father never said it was a relationship with these two. They never knew each other before she started going to school there. So, same instance, okay, where Austin, they're trying to be bullies, make him move out of this spot from up under this tent. And if he doesn't do it, hey, we're going to push you, we're going to punch you, we're going to do whatever we need to do to remove you from up under this tent. So that's what people have to understand. That's where the bully accusations come from. Not from something in the past. Not from an incident that occurred between the twins and Carmelo Anthony recently before the incident. That's what people keep getting it wrong at. No, it was a instantaneous situation, right? Where somebody tried to be a bully and a person had to defend their life. Case analysis killed Joe Ramirez in cold blood out there in Belton, Texas, at high school. And this is how he gets punished, right? It's very lenient, as we can see, 6 months to 2 years in state jail facility. Taking a human being's life. He said he was bullied. Said he was in fear of his life. He's being jumped. So we shall see how, the justice unfolds with Carmelo Anthony in his case. And even with the case of Angel Simmons, who allegedly took the life of 14-year-old Serenity Baker.
Bow, 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 bow. That's it. Y'all, so, because I feel like Jucario gonna go back and post this. And if she do, this is the sister that she posted when she was like, she's on the way. So, she finally made it here when she was supposed to get here last night, but that's besides the point. She's still. For real? Oh, so, yes, anyways, two first. Period.
Now, I ain't gonna give you no narrative. I'm gonna give you the rundown. And Serenity Baker's mother came out, and at the March 25th board meeting there at the school, Jacob said that her daughter often called her because she felt unsafe in school, while the district claimed that 4 staff members responded to Baker within seconds to give basic medical aid after she was stabbed with the 3.5-inch tactical folding knife. Jacob said otherwise. She said, "My baby sat there and bled out. Her friends were holding her and no one else was," Jacob said. Where was the staff? What was the faculty? And where was the security? So this would make the statement that the superintendent, Dr. Fay, made, right, saying that a medical team was right there instantaneously responding to the incident, and it wasn't no wait at all. The mother is saying, hey, my baby sat there and bled out. Nobody came to, her aid at all, except for her friends that were holding her. So, there's a big discrepancy there with that story. And the superintendent, Dr. Faye, said she spoke with Miss Jacobs, right, at this school board meeting that Miss Jacobs spoke out at. And she had a whole lot to say, as I just quoted some of the stuff that she said in the meeting. Check it out. Run it.
Next we have Glenda Jacobs. Welcome.
Hello. My name is Glenda Jacobs. I reside in Killeen. I am the mother of Serenity Baker. I'm here today with heavy heart still. It's been however long for the tragedy that happened on March 10th, 2025 this year. My daughter was murdered, but the reason that I'm here is because I'm here to speak as a voice for her and for other children, just for future reference, for present tense also speaking. I really don't know what to say, but that I feel like we were let down as a community. Nobody reached out to me. Everybody's on social media. No one here at KISD reached out to me and said anything. It really doesn't matter, but I'm just stating that no one reached out to me. The student's father called me and told me, "Oh, your daughter was stabbed." That was an issue. The issue needs to be addressed, that my baby sat there and she bled out and there were her friends holding her, not no one else. I want to know, where was the staff? Where was the faculty? Where was your security? Whoever. It shouldn't have been. I was almost to Harker Heights and then got a call to say, no, she's not being airlifted to Temple. She's in Darnell. There was precious moments passed, but I don't even know what to say. I'm upset. I'm gonna be forgiving, but this should never happen. This should have never happened. When I went out, it was many times that she called me because she did not want to be at school, because she felt like it was something that was gonna happen. It was many a times I called up there. This should not have happened, and it should not ever happen again. Children should not be sent to school and not able to come back home. It's sad. I don't even know, but something needs to be done. Things, security, everything. And I should not have called by somebody else. Yes, somebody need to be held accountable. I don't know, but I'm here for justice, for Serenity. I'm gonna fight for a Serenity law. And I know that I can't question God, but her God-given purpose, I believe I do have peace so that I can speak out for her and for future tense reference any other child. Because should no child be sent to school and not able to come home because of whatever happened? There was too many situations that occurred prior to this that we stated. That child, and I'm not even, yes, it should have been prevented. The other child should not have been back at that school after assaulting staff and assaulting other children. It should have been some kind of disciplinary action besides that. And I just hope that they do find something in resolution to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a strong black woman there. Now, as you heard, Serenity Baker's mother, she sat there and she was pouring her heart out in that school board meeting about her baby, about her daughter who, just lost her precious life when she's supposed to be coming home from school. This is never supposed to happen, right? How could this happen? Why wasn't those metal detectors working that day, right? And then, the narrative that Serenity Baker was being a bully. Her mother never spoke on that. But, at the same time, her mother said that, in fact, Serenity would be telling her that she was afraid to go to school because of certain things that could happen. So, this is a whole totally different spin on what they're saying about Serenity and these, crew of girls that this is what the dad is saying, right? All those allegations come from the father of Angel Simmons, right? Saying that, Serenity and this friend of hers pulled a gun on Angel, okay? And this is off campus, okay? They're jumping on her off campus 3 times, 4 times off campus, never on campus. This is the first on campus, incident ever with these girls. So where's all that stuff coming from? Well, obviously the father is the one that's saying that these incidents occurred, but no records of it. No reports of bullying. So it's just, it's very, it's odd. Something's definitely off here. Somebody's lying, basically. Now, Serenity's mother, Glenda, she also stated that, in fact, she had, knowledge that this other child, Angel Simmons, also known as, what her dad called her, Piggy. That's right. They're saying that Angel Simmons was up there assaulting the staff and the students as well, fighting these teachers and things of that nature. This is what Serenity Baker's mother, Glenda, said in that meeting. So if that's true, this paints another narrative of Angel Simmons, and she wasn't such of a, sweetheart, innocent, as they may look type. Now, how did Glenda Jacobs, Serenity Baker's mother, know that, Angel Simmons, this other child in this matter, was up there fighting and assaulting the staff and other students? How did she acquire that information? And she felt like that student shouldn't have been at school that day for this whole incident to take place, because they were supposed to be suspending Angel. And in fact, the father says the very same thing about her daughter in his testimony, saying Serenity Baker should have been suspended for fighting and things of that nature. So it's very confusing at this point, is what I'm trying to say. And hopefully we can get some resolution, because the stories are just not adding up, you guys. Y'all get in the comment section and y'all let me know what y'all think about this entire ordeal. And until the next time, this is OG Jucario TV with the latest in rap, hip-hop, celebrity, and urban news. You're watching the Rundown Podcast. I appreciate everybody for spending with me. I appreciate all my subscribers for sliding with your boy every time. And say, hey man, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and look, turn on post notification so we can slide whenever I get the drop. You already know what it is, man. It's deeper than Buddha, her, you hear me? And guess what? I'm gone.